Hello, welcome to the Winners Find a Way show, your weekly go-to podcast for 1% discussing winning strategies, how they built their winning teams and got winning results. If you're ready to grow and execute, communicate better than you ever have, and bring on that simplification and prioritization that they to make your dreams come true, then get your headphones on and keep your notebook close. Let's go on a journey together. Hello and welcome to the Winners Find a Way show. I am your host, Trent Clark, CEO of Leadershipity and Athletic Influencer Marketing. I am a serial entrepreneur. I speak globally, worldwide, for 17 countries, and just authored my newest book, Leading Winning Teams. Super pumped up about that. You can check it out. I will have a way for you to buy that down below. And most people know me because I spent over 12 years and went to 3 World Series as a coach in Major League Baseball. I am so excited that you joined us today on the Winners Find a Way show, where I welcome my good British man. Cheerio, Rob Harrison. What's going on?
Hey, thanks for having me, man. Thanks. I really appreciate that. It was a great little intro as well.
Yeah, you're the CEO of Magnified. We're going to talk all sorts about the brand, but you are actually not across pond from me right now. You have left your great country of the United Kingdom and you've headed off to Mexico because you followed a girl. Is that fair?
Exactly that. Yeah, it is. Yeah, I'm one of the victims.
Yeah, man. No. One of the smart ones, man. So that's awesome. So you've married a young lady from Mexico, been in that now for 4 years married. Congratulations. It's super awesome. And haven't had the kids yet, just having dogs, which is good, impressive. And you've developed this new brand, Magnified. You've done a bunch of things from, being an aviation engineer over in the Royal Navy, over 12 years in that gig, coming back to UK, looking at your dream job as an engineer. And you've done some pretty crazy stuff, man. Rebuilt your own house, which is cool. And definitely got into the ultra marathon work and even did some of that for the Royal Navy and paid athlete there to serve the military, do a little engineering and a little training. So done that. And man, you had probably one of the craziest 2019s. I mean, most people look back and go, it's almost like pre-Jesus now, man. It's like before Christ and after, right? It's like before pandemic and after. So you're 2019, before we go into the pandemic, you rebuild a house, you turn down your dream job, you leave the military, you propose to your wife to be, you head off to a new land and homeland in Mexico and do Ironman. Is that right? All in the same year?
Exactly that. That's it. The test was then.
Yeah, just trying to go for my calendar, see if I could fill it up or not.
That's it, exactly. Yeah, there's always a day spare. Well, if there was a day spare, it was getting filled.
It's impressive that you actually maintain a relationship through all that.
Yeah, well, I think that's where the relationship goes from being remote. And I think from having that distance relationship and having time to concentrate on certain things and then having the quality time with my partner definitely helped. I think that was definitely a big part of it as well.
Yeah. So, engineer by trade, I got to ask you, man, Magnified is, tell us a little about exactly what Magnified does.
So we are a fully outsourced sales agency for coaches and agencies around the world. And our main role within those companies as well, when we come in as a remote team, is to just help with their systems, help with their sales processes, and completely eliminate basically the entrepreneur who's trying to do it themselves, trying to wear all the hats, for us to come in and completely turn it around, increasing bottom line value, closing percentages, and also making sure it's a smooth journey from their leads coming in to turn them into clients.
Excellent. And the Magnified Academy you have now, which is super exciting. That's a new venture of yours. Who's going to qualify for the Magnified Academy?
So the Magnified Academy is for anyone who's looking to take up a role in as a sales closer, a remote sales closer as well. Do basically what I've been doing abroad for teams all over the world, and or also people who want to improve their sales skills. And the other side of things is there's a lot of people out there as well that possibly can't take on the outsourced sales team, but they want to be able to improve their sales skills as well within their businesses, or even the coaches or the clients that we work with, for them to improve on their sales skills as well.
That's awesome. And I tell you, when we think about entrepreneurs and a lot of coaches like me, we have a coaching academy, right? We have a group that works with a lot of business owners. And one of the first challenges of most business owners is getting sales right. Like we are, inefficient. We are battling the right scripts. We hiring the wrong people. Like you name it, man. Sales feels like pushing a boulder uphill for a lot of entrepreneurial ventures. And of course, most people, as you know, as owners, I like to say in our business, right? There's very few entrepreneurs and owners that went to school for leadership and coaching.
Yeah.
And now I've got this team of 35, 200, and I got to do a lot of leading and coaching. And I didn't really get trained for that, right? Because I have a degree or I have a, marketing degree or whatever I have, right? So now very few universities offer much for sales. So sales is like, man, I talked to my good buddy, Matthew Pollard, right? Who wrote The Introvert's Edge on sales, why introverts make the best salespeople. And man, he like teaching himself on YouTube from probably Rob Harrison's YouTube or, his academy, right? I don't know where he got it, but like he's out just practice, reps. And I mean, most people won't put in the time.
That's it. And that's what it's about. It's like from my journey into sales from being in the military as an engineer, there was no part of my courses that taught me how to sell. And for me, when I got involved in it, it was something that kind of became the addiction. And for me, it was jumping in 100%, understanding it and understanding everything else around the pitch. Okay. It's not, the pitch is only part of it. The main part of the sale is understanding your buyer, understanding why they're buying, okay, who they are, what they're coming in for this for. Okay. And from that's the kind of bit that really got me excited and understanding like, okay, there's a whole bigger picture to this.
Yeah.
And it was incredible. It was an amazing journey.
Well, maybe by going over your Vita there, and maybe not, that you're a pretty soft-spoken guy, pretty level-headed bloke, right? And you're just, saying, what most people don't know about you is you're an all-or-nothing guy. Like once you go in, it's all in. It's not put my toe in the water and maybe I'm thinking about getting in. Like you're in, man.
Exactly.
And people don't always get that about you. How do you think ultra marathoner, like how do you think they miss that about you?
Well, I think it is more of the way that I am. I do come across as that sort of chilled out lifestyle, but there is that whole thing I do as well. I do have the difference between my social life and my work life or my whatever I'm concentrating on at the time. That happens. I'm not the kind of person that would have to sort of show the world that everything that I'm doing. Like if I'm up at 4:30, 5 o'clock in the morning to train, okay, that's intrinsically for me. That's for me to do that. And for me to show that, I don't need to show everybody what I'm doing. Then they see me in the evenings and the afternoons. It's completely different to probably what I've probably put in throughout the day.
Yeah, I really appreciate that you're not living your entire life on Instagram. Thank you. Thank you for not posting that 4:05 workout this morning. I just want to thank you in advance. But like, it's true. I think that what people have somewhat expect, and that we're going to be transparent about everything we do in our lives, and the external doesn't always match the internal wiring. Like, listen, a lot of people, and I think this is the big value now of assessments, right? From you name it, all the assessments out there, right? There's so many now with DISC and Myers-Briggs, and you just go on. And I love a lot of them. And, I like the utilization because I have identified a ton of fabulous leaders, and people are judging by just external communication sometimes or lack of. And like, well, we just don't see the enthusiasm out of, Judith, and I don't know if she's going to manage this kind of intensity. And I'm like, oh, I don't know if you know this about Judith, but she raised her 3 little brothers on her own. She's been just a tomcat and killed and maimed for other people in her life, like more than once. I mean, this person is absolutely fierce, and they don't see it, right? So they don't think it exists internally because externally it doesn't necessarily show in the office pool from 9 to 5. What have you found about that, Rob?
It's one of those sort of areas where, like, I think I saw it from my mum more than anyone. Like when I was being brought up, my dad was in the military as well. He was away a lot, and my mum's job was to bring up 2 young boys. and run her businesses as well in the background. And that was her thing. That was what she had to do. But she also still had to give us the life of kids growing up and everything else in the background. But at the same time, making sure that she's successful to put the sort of food on our plates and the roof over our head. And it was, so I saw a lot. And I think I learned a lot for what I do now from that.
Yeah. I mean, take me back to 16-year-old Rob. Take me back. Like, did Rob, like, did you see yourself like, oh, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to be like, 20s, early 30s. I'm going to move to Mexico, be on a little siesta at Playa del Carmen, start a little company on my own. I mean, you clearly had a personal drive, father in military. You went to the Royal Navy pretty quickly, developed a bunch of skills in the aviation, engineering, aeronautical engineering. And walk us through a little bit about that, about what 16-year-old Rob is the same as today's Rob.
Yeah, and I think like planning, like my life was planned quite young. I idolized my dad. Incredible the life he lived. And when we went away on vacations and went to different places, we got to spend some quality time together because he was away for most of the year with the Navy. And so when we did go away and we spent time, we were able to talk, and he would tell me all the stories that when he was away, and he would go, like when he was 17 years old, he was on Copacabana Beach, and then he was in some other location somewhere else and traveled the entire world. And he knew so much about geography and everything that I didn't really know about at that age. And so in my head at 16 years old, I was already convinced that I'm going to be joining the military at the soonest opportunity, which was 16. I actually applied and turned it down at 16. I was a little bit nervous. And so I went back again at 18. And from my dad's stories and like, okay, Dad, where do I go? What do I do? It wasn't the entrepreneurial side of things never came in then. I saw what my mum was doing. And I think I saw my mum through a lot of stress. I saw her go through a lot of problems with her business. I saw her make some mistakes with business partners or with the things that happened in her business that she wasn't in control of. And from that, it really showed me that I knew the easy route for me was military. And probably a lot of people don't think that. Okay, a lot of people are like, wow, it's quite hard to join the military and be told what to do, when to be somewhere, what uniform do you wear in at all times. But for me, it was normal. That was the kind of choice I wanted to make at 16, which then made the journey in the military very easy for me. And I'll never forget the first day I was there. And I think all the stories that my dad ever told me about the military and where I was going to be or what was going to happen, it still didn't relate to that actual first day. And it was crazy. And like the experiences you have, it's on the extreme. It's the way I look at it, and people watching this probably think they might disagree with this, but it is very, very close to going to jail. It is like I remember getting on that train, getting down to where the location was of where the military base is, getting off the train, getting told to go onto a bus, getting on a bus, getting told, like, they don't mention your name, you're a number from the moment you get on that bus. You go in and you go down this big long road which has barbed wire all the way along it, and then you turn left into the gate which has barbed wire everywhere, 2 armed guards, and you go in, and that's it. That's the moment it starts. And they get you out of the bus, you put your bag down, you don't see it for the rest of the day, and then they're straight on you, and the tests are coming in, and they shave your head straight away, all that sort of stuff. With the military, you don't realize it is quite like a jail sort of. And I'm like, well, what have I done wrong to do this? Like, and then you've really got to change your mindset in that. It's crazy.
Yeah. So from the most, I mean, from the outside looking in, it's definitely break you down right away and realize that, hey, we're going to be doing it our way. You probably don't have an opinion anymore. And if you do, you won't like the result of having an opinion. And you're sponging up the learning, right? And quite frankly, they're making it hard enough and busy enough that you don't really have a lot of time to think about what's happening. It's just happening. It's almost happening to you, not for you.
Yeah, it is very, very quick. I think the first thing I learned when I joined was, well, actually, within the first couple of weeks of basic training, it's very quickly you realize, okay, the decisions aren't mine. There's no decision here that's mine. I just need to be in the right location at the right time in the right uniform. You do that, everything's pretty smooth because they will hold your hand through it. They will take you through it because you're learning, you're training. Just as long as you do those tasks every single time, then you're in the right place. And I think then efficiency then is built into you very, very early in the military for that.
Love it. All right, so let's talk about one of those stories that you've had to overcome. A lot of people, I love the quote on the Winners Find a Way show: winners, when shown data that they are losing, find a way to win. Take us back to one of these trials along your route where you're deciding, like, hey, you got to make some tough decisions here. And you're thinking, hey, this is a good idea. and yet the data's not really coming in. This is working out so well, right? And so you're thinking like, what am I going to do? How am I going to turn it around? And walk us through a little bit of that challenge and one of the many things that you've likely faced along your journey. And it's still a young journey, Rob. I mean, you're still going, but already 12 years in the military. So, you're now what? Close to 35 now, right? When you got out? Now 35,
yeah,
right?
33 when I got out. Yeah.
Yep. Yep. So you've been out a few years. And so what's one of those tales in your journey that you were up against?
What, from after leaving or from being in?
Your call. Either one's good for me, man. Like you tell me what was the most impactful to you?
For me, my biggest decision is understanding like the value of my time. And for me, I like I said to you, I'm an all-in kind of guy. And I think one of my biggest struggles, and I had to get a lot of help with this, was understanding what parts are the most important. And for me, it was understanding obviously the family side of things, having a new wife, like making sure I treat her like my wife. Okay, I don't need to be, she's not just another person in my house. I had to make sure that obviously I wanted to treat my wife who she's going to be with me hopefully for the foreseeable, and I want to make sure that she's happy. So that was a big one for me. And it was something like it used to, before that, the whole military life, the whole 12 years of being in, living on my own. I moved away from my parents' house when I was young. So I was in the military. So it was only myself I had to really look out for. Now I'm in a position where I had to think about people, and I really did have to make sure. And from doing all the other stuff that I try and cram in and do everything in my life, I do have to make sure that time is also spent on quality for myself, my partner, and my parents and my family. And that was my biggest struggle. I think that was for me, was understanding what to put in and what I needed to, and not overwhelm myself with trying to push other things aside. Even like a vacation, as you know, with a business owner, vacations don't normally turn up in your first couple of years.
Yeah.
Christmas is a very short period of time. Easter doesn't even exist. And so you need to think like, okay, what is the priority? And like, okay, for other people who aren't entrepreneurs, who are in your family, my wife and my family aren't, okay, and my mum now are retired, so they want the time. So for when they come and visit me out here in Mexico, that's quality time. And I really had to try to switch off, and that's when the team comes in, that's when building everything out. And that for me was the most stressful point, of knowing that I need to step back from my business to make sure I give the quality time to the people around me.
Yeah, I mean, one of the things, and this is an interesting thing I'd like you to break down for me, because a lot of people learn prioritization from the military, which I don't know if it's learned. It's certainly told, this is what you should prioritize, right? Like this. And by the way, if you don't prioritize these things, bed made properly, dress in the right clothes, like there is a punishment for your lack of, attention to detail and following our priorities for you. But I will say, some of that is that it's their priorities for us. So now you're on your own, and it's, Rob's got to prioritize. It's not, someone else isn't going to prioritize it for you.
Yeah, you're right.
And you have a lot of decisions to make as a business owner about where you could spend your time, because it's endless of the places you could spend your time as an owner, right? Exactly. So how do you navigate that first couple years of now you being that decision?
Yeah, that's actually a really good one, because I definitely noticed it when you can actually say I've had 2 marriages in my life, and one of them lasted 12 years. And because of that, I married the military because that was everything. And I always volunteered for every operational task I volunteered for all the exercises, anything that we could do to get me away and go abroad. And so I'll jump on the ship, and then I'll go with the aircraft or go wherever what we're doing. And so everything was planned out. I just had to just go along with it and make sure I was in the right place at the right time. So for me, until I left the military, that was when you're like, okay, there you go. You got an empty field in front of you. No one's going to wake you up in the morning. No one's going to be there. No one's going to be telling you what to do. And again, no one's going to be there paying my wages either, because now I'm only as good as what I'm earning for myself. And so you have to really, the prioritization, you really have to think back on what there is and what you're doing. And as you know, with many tasks in the business, you don't enjoy all of them. And the military, it's just get in, get it done. It doesn't matter. Like we always talk about ourselves as being a full-time cleaner and a part-time engineer, because everything, as you know, in the military has to be cleaned. It has to be cleaned 10 times over, and it has to be cleaned even though it's clean. Okay, and that's just a part of the discipline, everything that happens in it. And so for us, we need to make sure that we we're in there and we do it and we say yes, okay. But when you're running your own business and you think, well, I can just push that job to the side and I can probably do it on Friday afternoon and when it's a little bit quieter and get that sorted, and then Friday afternoon comes along and then you've got all the other jobs that you've put to the side on the Friday afternoon that are not going to be able to happen, then you're like, okay, now what do I need to do? Then you realize, okay, I either get this done or I get somebody in that can do it for me. And that's a bit of the prioritization that came in, was building a team.
Yeah, it's so easy. It's so easy to do the easy, what I like, or the urgent, as opposed to the important, right? Like, it's like, oh, this has to get done, and like, oh, that's really important. But man, I'd really cross something off my list if I did something I really liked.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, oh, how's that working out? All right, so let's talk a little bit about the strategies of growth. Magnified is growing. You have a 5-headed monster out there with some great partners, some great entrepreneurial men that are not only your partners but mentors. And as you drive in this business, not surprisingly, you've identified some real skill sets, some real triggers of people that have allowed Magnified to really scale because you're getting great hires. Is that fair?
Yeah, it is. It's definitely. And I think from having the guys in the business with me has been the driving force for us to know what to do and when to do it. And like, for me, starting this off all on my own, everything on my own, and building every single part of the business out on my own, I would probably be a quarter of where I am now. And I mean that. Like, it's, for me, having some guys in the background with me in different areas as well. This isn't just like 5 sales guys deciding that's just going to be a mess. Okay. You know that. And it was having guys that specialize in the account side of things. Okay. In growth. Okay. The hunters and the farmers in the business, everyone has a different role. And from that, being consistent with each other and learning, and them showing me what not to do. Okay. I've done it. I've had a few times where I've been like, okay, this is the next big idea. This is the thing this is what I'm going to put all my energy into. And literally, look at it, no, don't do that. And I'm like, how can you say that? Like, this is, and they're like, okay, this is what we've done in the past and tried this. It didn't go in the right direction. And then they can predict it very, very quickly from past mistakes or what they've done. And it's been incredible, honestly, having those guys in there with us.
So why don't you give us one quick, maybe, I know we're not in the academy, but maybe one quick tip that Magnified gets and utilizes to identify and recruit a great new hire? What's something we as business owners should be thinking about in identifying or recruiting a top first round draft choice?
The main thing that I can see that for what we do when we're recruiting new people is having a 4-stage process. Okay, we have a 4-stage process with 4 different interviews. Okay, the guys come through and they have an intro. Okay, there's an intro, which is great. Then there's different tactics and different areas of what we talk to people about. And because we've got enough people in the company that can see it in different views, okay, it's not just one guy with his only one outlook on it. Then we have a full meeting afterwards to understand, okay, from what we had on those meetings, what were the biggest traits and the biggest sort of pros and cons for that person coming in and what they can do. And I think now we've had 3 people come into our company that have come into a certain role, but we've actually given them a different role, knowing that their attributes could be helped in a different area from what they've done. And it's only because of the job they had before, they've probably applied for the job that we've put out. But actually, because we're building as a company, we've got other areas that we're looking for. And it's been incredible for us to build people in there. And it's been amazing for us to do that and then have them in there to help us make those decisions as well.
Love it. All right. Tell me quickly about, that's a great, by the way, it's a massive superpower on a strategy of growth. Like, so few teams really know how to get the right people, and even better, identify great people and put them in a better seat than maybe even what they applied for. I think that's a great lesson there. So we'll keep that 4-stage process in mind for hiring people. And then one of the challenges of strategy of growth, which I love the old African proverb, right? Sharp spear, dull handle. Like, you guys have created measured and improving process. You created sales and marketing strategies for companies like mine, companies all over the world. And in your own company, this is like the shoemaker's kids don't have any shoes. This is not something you've spent a lot of time building your scalable and winning strategy for Magnified.
That's it. It's been a journey where we all of our clients, we have weekly meetings to show them how to grow, how to show themselves out there, and to be able to advertise in the right ways saying the right things, even the sort of everything they get from introductions of new leads coming in for their DM process, everything way through to booking in the calls. And we've never actually put that process properly in place for our company yet. We've been very lucky that word of mouth has helped us get new clients, but we've now, the growth strategy for us is, like, most of our energy is now going towards advertisement, appointment setters, getting the right people in the business to be able to help us be seen more. But we're in that position where we're massively helping all of our clients in growth and taking them from, we've sort of 10x quite a few companies that we've come in on and helped them with everything in their background. But then, yeah, it's the bit you miss yourself. It's crazy that we haven't actually executed that yet.
What would you say? I mean, you're in industry. I'm a LinkedIn guy. I have a lot of followers there. And I mean, people come out of the woodwork and hit folks up like me, especially in your area. There is a lot of noise about your specialty in the market. How do you at Magnified differentiate yourself? And this is, by the way, for anyone out there, and we're all there, because if you're a plumbing house and you do plumbing, there's also 37 other plumbers in your town. And so why do they call you instead of calling someone else? Because anyone can, quote unquote, turn a wrench and reset a toilet and unclog a drain and install piping. Like, I don't want to downplay the commodity of plumbing, but the skill set has been learned, and there's competitors. Yeah. You have competitors in the market, and the noise is loud, Rob. I mean, it is loud. Mm-hmm. How does Magnified separate themselves from others?
The thing that we get told time and time again by all of our clients, the biggest thing that we do is we get fully immersed in their business. Okay, we understand them inside and out. So we become their subject matter expert. We're their representatives. We're not there just to put a few sales words in and to try and get a client over the line. We use, obviously, sales skills to be able to get the right sale in on that first time call. But at the same time, we want to be seen as a subject matter expert within that industry, within that company, that we've been there for years. And that's what they love. And when we come in and we have the onboarding process for one of our clients, they can't believe how much that we ask about their business and go into their business, and especially the coaches that we work with. And I'm like, okay, great. Well, give me a coaching platform. I'm in. I'm a client of yours now for the next foreseeable, whatever it needs to be. I want to understand exactly what they're getting, how they're getting it, what the onboarding process is, how every single one of your clients is enjoying the program. Because if I'm not doing it and I'm not enjoying it and you can't really, and this is something that I tell my sales team, you can't sell something you don't use or you don't enjoy. Okay, and our sales team are great because every single one of our team that sell for nutrition and fitness coaches have a nutrition and fitness background. Everyone who's involved in selling for real estate investor coaches have a real estate investment background. And so it's great. They can then get involved and they know the program straight away. They can know exactly what's going to happen. And then from there, have everything set up. And it works really well. And then from that, having strategies with the clients each week and understanding how we can increase bottom line value, how we can increase their closing percentage just by what they do as a smooth transition from the lead, from even just a potential lead to then becoming a client and booked in on our calendar.
Love it. Let's come back to the other, really, and you have a number of them, but let's go to another 16 strategy of growth, and another superpower of yours is you're very good at measured and improving processes. You get into processes and can easily get KPIs around that all of a sudden becomes very repeatable and sustainable. Like when processes repeat themselves again and again and again, the results become predictable, right? And so walk me through how you develop that from your team standpoint.
So with the process side of things, it's back in the day when this started out, and it was just that understanding of, okay, what's going to be more efficient. There was a lot of copy paste, manual work involved, long nights, just trying to figure it out. And I think as soon as we came across putting the system in place, okay, but then having the right people that can run the system. We did have a couple of people that started with us who were like, yeah, I've got background in this side of things, but this was new. This is a whole new system. This isn't something that we can just copy from somebody else. This wasn't even done. Okay, having a different way of being able to get all the automations, the workflows, everything through for the process for someone booking in to then come into the call and everything like that. Okay, they needed to have all the messages sent to them. It needed to be personalized. It needed to be on a level which is going to make them excited to get on the call. Okay, just having a robot there in the background is not going to work. So we had to work out that system that was in there. And for us, putting those processes in place and just going over it again and again and working out what works and what doesn't work. Okay, there's a lot of trial and error. There's a lot of hours that went into it, and I think that's the engineering background for me. I love the build work of I haven't got my hands on an engine, or I'm not there working on the aerodynamics or anything like that of an aircraft, but it's exactly the same processes and mindset and thought process that goes into building a CRM or goes into building a full workflow, which is exactly the same as engineering it. And that's what I think just keeps me going and keeps me excited.
Well, I think let's talk particularly about those folks who've like, hey, I learned how to scale to a $50,000 revenue a month, and I've had systems for that. And now you need to take this group to $250,000 a month, right? And they're not ready to learn that there's going to have to be a new process. They're not ready to accept because, hey, well, I've always done it this way. Have you been challenged by salespeople that you've hired that are a little bit set in their ways? This is the way we've always done it, Rob. Like, I mean, I've never actually had a group that sold 250,000, so I have no experience with it, but I'm holding on to this other process because I'm a little scared to let it go. Is that fair? I mean, what do you do when you're running that challenge? Because as entrepreneurs, we run across this, right? And we don't have that open mindset of our team members ready to take it to the next level. A lot of times they tend to eliminate themselves.
Yeah, so there's two different ways of looking at that, really, because the first one is the team members themselves having the right mindset of what they're selling and the scalability side of things of what they're selling. If you've got someone that's just coming in and they're on a salary, for instance, and you're saying to them, okay, I just need you to do this, this, and this each day, they will keep doing that process for the salary. When you show there's an incentive and what the build growth looks like and the commission-based side of things, because that's what we are. We're 100% commission-based. Every single salesperson for us is commission-based. Okay, so the incentive straight away is if you don't sell, you're not going to make any money on that. Okay, so how are you obviously going to go in and understand the numbers for what that is? Then everything for the system that we have in place. So now we've got the other guys working as the operations side, who are there to bring me all the data from everything that's been going on, everything that's booking in, everything from no-show rate all the way through to offers, even the percentage of offers brought up as well. Okay, so we need to know exactly what we're looking at and how we're offering, what we're offering to the clients and what type of clients are coming in, what demographic. There's many different variables in this. So I have to go through that, and as a team, we go through that and look at exactly where those variables are and what we can see that can be changed and can be adjusted. And then from that's where we then show, okay, here's the data. This is what we need. Okay, this is exactly where we need to be to go to this level. If we hit this level, then we've got incentives to work on. We've got bonuses to hit, especially in the sales team. It's like bonuses but it's what everyone loves to see. Everybody loves to see targets hit. But when you've got an operations team, okay, operations is great. They make it work. Okay, and they make it go well. But having the data, can be extracted and we can show, it's obvious. If the data is showing that we can improve this, if we increase a lead generation just by 10% of getting in the same, or change just a couple of messages that get sent through, we can completely change the game. And I did literally last week, we had the same thing. One of my clients was telling me, we're looking at the no-show rate was going up and up and up over the last sort of 3 months. And we're over 30% no-show rate, which is not right for what we're trying to do. We changed the message, literally changed the message into a question with an acknowledgement about price, and reduced the no-show rate right down to around 12%. And we increased the revenue by 25%.
Wow.
And it was just on one little change. And those sort of things came because of data, because of what we saw.
Yeah. So, there's a lot of people out there right now, Rob, and their analysis paralysis. They're getting stuck. Things are harder. It's more expensive. And, oh, man, I don't want to do this. My insurance has gone up. My cost of goods services are going up. I'm not making more money, and I'm working harder than ever. What do you tell a group that says they can't afford you, that we're not going to be able to keep growing? What do you tell people in that category that's struggling right now? What would you say to them?
The people that are struggling, that kind of the way that I look at it, okay, is different in the areas. Okay, when I'm talking to them, okay, it's going to understand where they're at and what they're doing, how many hats they're wearing. Okay, and there's another big part of it. Okay, taking off one of the hats does cost. okay, because you're bringing in an outsourced team, or you're going to bring in another employment of somebody in your company. Okay, it's going to cost. So you're adding to the problem. When you take on something different that's going to be the sort of area where it's going to overcome that problem, and you know it's going to overcome that problem by seeing things like data and different areas that are going to be able to increase their efficiency, increase their productivity, and obviously the overall amount coming in every month. You've got to really look at like what's going to happen. Okay, for me on a sales call, okay, there's only 3 reasons why someone wouldn't buy. Okay, if they don't see the value, okay, if they don't trust me, or if they don't understand it, okay, then if any of those 3 come, like that's for me the only reasons why someone wouldn't get involved and wouldn't do it, okay, and they say it's not for them. And that's where I've got to keep asking questions and go through it with them. But what we offer with Magnified is a little bit different because we're commission only. There is no retainers, there is no any extra things like that. Okay, what we look at is how we can increase their bottom line revenue and what they're doing, their bottom line price, to increase their revenue for a higher percentage than what we charge as commission. Okay, and that's my job. That is my sole job, to do that within the first month of working. And we've done it with a lot of our clients, and especially with coaches that are coming in. They've been struggling. Like we got one of our coaches, Nancy. She's incredible. She's been one of the highest leading coaches in Canada. She's been in pretty much every magazine cover you can think of. She looks incredible. She came to me and she said, like, Rob, I've never made more than 15K in 1 month, ever. I'm like, okay, well, let me look at your systems. Let me go through everything for you, and I'll just see if you're a good fit for us. And I said to her, look, okay, there's many things I'll change in this. And there's many different areas I'll change in your pricing, your structure, what you're doing. In her first month of working with us, we took her to over 100,000. Wow. In the first month. We took her completely out of everything to do with her sales. Because coaches, the way that coaches are, okay, and that's one of our main niches. Coaches love to coach, okay? They love to stay in their bubble, okay? And that's something that they really enjoy doing. And if you're staying within your comfort zone, you know you're doing all right. But then you realize that, okay, why didn't I close that person? Well, I've actually just coached them on that call and told them what they need to do, and they've gone off and done it. And so when it comes to someone who's just specializes in getting the sale, okay, you're not now the negotiator and then the coach, okay, you're not the bad guy and the good guy, okay, you're just the good guy, because then we hand them over to the coach, who's then going to be able to then help them change their lives. And for us to come in and show different ways of doing it, and I remember her saying to me, I said, okay, well, I'm going to change your pricing, okay, you're at the moment at $1,800 and you're offering this for 6 months, whatever it was. I said straight away, I said, your value, who you are straight away is extremely valuable, okay, because you've done so much. She's been a coach for 30 years. I said, I'm going to, the first price I'm going to be asking for is $4,200. And she's like, no, you can't do that. I was like, what? So what do you mean?
I love that, man. I love that. I want 10 of the right clients, not 100 of the small clients.
Yeah, exactly. She goes, you can't do that. I was like, yeah. I said, watch this. Straight, increase her crazy price by that. And she literally was phoning me up emotionally, like, Rob, you're like a lottery ticket. It's insane. This is crazy. I don't do anything. You've increased my business by so much. And then she was able to get more coaches underneath her. We were taking more demand. From taking in more demand, we can obviously, my sales team, we can take 10 times more calls than what she could do herself. She could then take on more clients because she got coaches underneath her, because now she can afford to take more people on. And she was in the position then just growth from growth. Now she's just sold up her home, bought another new home in a different location. Her dream location. She's always wanted to live all her life. And she's been able to do all the stuff that she's wanted to do and be able to take herself out of the business massively because she's got everybody else running it for her. And it was just taking that step.
Love it. I love it. And I think that's so valuable that we do kind of hire an expert. We're not great. Like, let's do the things we do really well, stay in our lane and be super at that, and bring the people, bring the teammates, and they don't have to be internal to us. I think that's really important. That's a good lesson. For me, I mean, I talk a lot about this in my book, Leading Winning Teams. And it's a super big challenge for people to understand that I can be the best I can be, and other people can run circles around me in this. I am not going to be great at everything. And I like your vulnerability about, hey, there's 16 strategies of growth, and you've got like 6 or 7 we talked about that you're killing it. Like, you guys are just on your way and doing these things. And there's areas we still need work. And talking about one of the areas that actually you excel in for others, but don't excel in internally. I love that vulnerability. Like, that's the reality of the deal. And it's not uncommon with business. So if please, I got the links down below for Leading Winning Teams. If you buy a book today, you can send me a receipt on the email at trent@leadershipity.com. I will ship you the 5 keys to discipline. And if you buy 2, or you buy one and you buy one to give and give as a gift, I will send you the whole playbook on the pain exchange and strategies for discipline. So that's awesome for personal self-review for you, and welcome in that. It is a ball to run through that, and you're only going to get better. I've made a lot of people better in this world, and a lot of people famous. So you will absolutely enjoy that self-discovery. For Rob, anything that, first of all, Rob, tell them where they can find you, because I think a lot of people are going to be interested in what Magnified have to offer.
Yeah, we're online, magnified.io, and we're same as on Instagram as well, magnified.io, and myself, my personal one as well is rob.h.8. And yeah, I'll leave you the links and everything. I'll send them over to you. LinkedIn as well, and we're just starting up a YouTube channel now, which we're putting together.
Yeah, I think that'll be, when you're talking about people learning sales, I mean, man, the YouTube thing, I think it's funny. I really didn't see that about YouTube when it started out, that it was going to be this big learning platform. How much stuff you can get free. I just changed the air filter in my car yesterday. I would have never thought about doing that. And then I realized that a mechanic wanted to charge me $100. And I thought, I think I could buy it for $12 and do it myself. Right. Which I think took me about 3.5 minutes. Right.
Yeah.
So good lesson for me, and exciting for everybody out there. Thank you for joining us in the Winners Find a Way show. Super excited about our upcoming retreat. I'm headed down Rob's way. I'm headed to Tulum here coming up in May. We only have 12 slots. I think there's only 10 remaining. You got to get in there. I've got an early bird up to May 1st, usually about $7,500. You can get in for $5,000 right now and learn the exact tools and strategy you need to double your business fast. We do that very well. And going to have some great people with Corey Warfield in the AI space, and Rachel Weaver in the PR space, and Amit Rathore in Silicon Valley, expert on the e-commerce. So you are just going to love this trip. And if you're ready to dive into your business and go to the next level, and who knows, maybe we can get Rob Harrison to drive 20 minutes and come over and see us, man. Hang out in Tulum, man. What up?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, definitely.
That'll be sweet. Yeah. You heard it here first. Rob Harrison might make an appearance. What up?
Definitely.
So that would be pretty awesome. Rob, anything to leave the crowd with? Do you want to, any offer for Magnified that you offer some first timers, a meeting or anything like that?
Yeah, I can definitely do that. Oh, the other thing is that we can do is that we have a community as well that I can open up and give a free entry for as well. I can leave the link with you for anyone that wants to join the community. I update it every week. I do a mastermind every week as well with anybody that joins into our academy program, which I can leave links for that. And everything is built into the community as well with what we do. Okay. And we are sorting out a retreat next year. We are doing a few different in-person events. And the main thing for me really is to just be around a lot of like-minded individuals that are trying to do the same thing. And that's our biggest push.
Great. Well, listen, I'm going to push, man. Maybe I'll get a speaking engagement at the Magnified, annual retreat, man. I mean, I might try to lobby my way in there, Rob. That'd be pretty sweet to see all the people that are growing and killing it with Magnified and the help from them, because it can absolutely be a game changer for your organization, and getting that system right I hear it from your example of that peace of mind from that coach. It's so incredible. So for everybody out there, thank you so much for joining us on the Winners Find a Way show every Friday, 12:30 p.m. Eastern, 9:30 a.m. Pacific, on the Leadershipity YouTube channel, LinkedIn Live, and Facebook Live. And you can find our podcast everywhere with now over 5,000 downloads a week. You are going to want to check it out. For everybody else, we'll see you next time on Winners Find a Way. Organizations come to me all the time with challenges of execution and communication with their teams. We help build a system through Bloom Growth and software that gives them simplification and prioritization. I teach, facilitate, and coach these organizations to literally double their value. If you're interested in gaining your individual and organizational growth, please email me at trent@leadershipity.com or click the link below and book a 15-minute call on my Calendly.